Well, today I'm working on a 2007 BMW 335i. It is an E90. The engine is an N54, turbocharged, and I am using a premium A-premium fuel filter assembly and A-premium electric fuel pump assembly, which look like these. You have your O-ring gasket, O-wall O-ring, and then there's assembly there, and here's the tubes and assembly here. So first and foremost, the first things I like to do is go to my trunk, and I've already disconnected it, but there it is, 335i, is disconnect the negative on the battery, and then which is located in the trunk on the right hand side underneath the panel. And then you'll see this microfiber cloth here. Once I disconnect this negative lead, I wrap the microfiber cloth around it so it doesn't bump into anything. That's something that I like to do. And it's apparent to disconnect the battery when you're working with gas, any component on a car or gasoline, just to be excessively safe. So then, you already know, these assemblies are underneath the rear of your seat. Now my car is gross, so forgive me. So I remove the back seat, which all you do is just pop it up, and the buckles slide really well underneath. As you can see, I vacuumed it up a little dirty, and underneath this flap, and you can see it's an E90. Underneath this flap, you will see the two top bolted down covers. You will remove those, each of those. You will disconnect the circuits that are on the top, and then you'll come to what they call a lock ring. In the lock ring, you can literally use like a punch and a hammer. It takes a little bit longer. I've done that before in a previous vehicle. Or you can buy a special tool, which are inexpensive on Amazon. They're only about 20 bucks, if that. Let me look up real quick. I can show you what this is for. So 1 second. Okay, thank you for your patience. So this special tool here is, these go on the actual lock ring, which I'll show later. They bolt into here and they can be adjusted, and then you are able to put a 3/8 ratchet or a breaker bar in here, and it will help you turn that lock ring so that you can pull up the O-ring and the assemblies on each side. And just to let you know, I use and purchase a lot of products from A Premium. They are available on Amazon. They are Amazon sellers, as well as their own site. It's a-premium.com. And they have a lot of good quality parts that are inexpensive compared to other sellers. So right now the stuff that I'm using is all from A Premium. I just recently put a starter in last Saturday underneath the intake manifold on this vehicle as well. I did not video that. I should have. That was fun. But the starter was from A Premium. The starter that I'm putting in a Honda Accord, an 04 Honda Accord, just came yesterday. It's right here. I'm putting that under an intake on the 04 Honda. That's A Premium product. The majority of the calipers, sensors, different products. I've put calipers on my 3 Series. I have calipers for my 5 Series. But I use a lot of A Premium. So let me get the caps off. I believe they're a 10 millimeter. At first I'm going to tape up. I am going to tape up this felt piece against this felt piece here against the actual back seat with like 3M tape, paint tape, so it's not going to hurt the car at all. And tape it up so it's out of the way, because it is an inconvenience to try to keep holding that up while you're working. But I believe that these nuts on these covers are 10 millimeter. We'll find out here. And yes, they are. So small little ratchet. You might want to get a metal, call it a metal pan. Excuse my garage, it's a mess. Well, that metal pan has bolts and screws and nuts in it, so you get a metal pan here so you can put all your nuts and your covers aside so you don't lose them. Watch out, Soph. Excuse me, that's my dog. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna tape up the felt, and then I'm gonna take the cover off, and we're gonna go from there. Okay, so as you can see, well, I ended up using like duct tape because the painter's tape that I had definitely would not stick. It's not like my leather's clean either, so what I did was unscrewed this, and I immediately smell gasoline. And as you pull the cap up, you have these two circuits here, and this is the lock ring I was telling you about. And then you have this, which will probably have fuel in it, so it might leak a little. You're gonna need some rags, but these are decompressed tabs like this, and you should be able to wiggle them out. You might have to get a screwdriver, so I'm gonna take those off. Gonna have to disconnect this too. And these are squeeze tabs. This is a squeeze tab set up here, and should wiggle it off. It might be a little complicated because of how old this car is, but so far that's where we're at. Okay, so far, as you can see, I removed the circuits and one of the vacuum lines. This is a vacuum line, if I'm not mistaken. And you push in, and it's dirty in here, let me tell you. Whew. You push it in really good, and then you wiggle it out. Make sure you want to wiggle these. These are old. Like, this is an old car. The last one I have not done yet, which is this one here. You have squeeze tabs right here, and then you have all this, I don't even know. Squeeze tabs here, and wiggle, and squeeze, and wiggle, and squeeze, and wiggle. And at this point, no smoking, no open flame, no spark, nothing. Because this is, I can smell this. And also on the cap, you have a predominant yellow-ish wire circuit, and then you have some type of, it looks like grounding, and it has another positive on the right. I don't know, maybe it's a signal to the actual ECU. But this circuit, this yellow one here goes to here. This one here goes to here. It's a little dirty. I'll clean it up. Okay. And then this I think is just some type of I don't know. I don't know what the hell that's for. But this is so I'm gonna wiggle a little bit. This is probably gonna be the hardest one to get out. Just because it's stubborn. It feels like it's coming. So as you can see, it is coming. It's just really stiff, and you just keep wiggling it and pull up. Oh. Some of these are interesting. And just try to wiggle it. Ooh, there it is. Oh, whew, stinks. Ooh, yeah. So you kind of try to want to get this out of the way. So I'm just going to set it there for right now. The next thing you want to do is put your, so we had used punches and chisels and a screwdriver and hammers. I've done it that way, but this time around I was like, I'm not doing that, especially on this car. So I decided to get that tool. So I'm going to get that tool set up, and I'm going to break that ring loose. And as soon as I do that, there will be an O-ring underneath this ring, which comes, and I'll pop that out, and then the unit will be almost to the point like floating. Now, my gas tank is 3/4 of the way full, and you're really recommended to do this when it's not that full. But I decided to do that today. I have other stuff I have to do within the next couple weeks, and I really need to see if this cancels out one of the issues that I'm having with my car. I'm getting signals that I have low fuel pressure. I could be wrong. Could be a bad sensor. But the age of this car, I'm assuming these fuel regulator, fuel filter, and fuel pump, fuel sender, these two assemblies are original. And this car's going on 17 years. So I want to make sure that I don't have any type of, plus this will cancel out. And I didn't spend much on tools. So as far as labor to do this would probably be pretty expensive, but if you're confident enough to do it, it's not that complicated of a job on either side. It's really not. And then I have some tricks that I'm going to show you coming up. Okay, thanks for your patience. I have to go get a ratchet wrench out of my drawer for this and connect it to that to adjust it to the ring, connect it to the other parts of the unit. But I wanted to show you which one I decided to take off first. And I think it's okay to do the fuel pump first. Who knows? Anyway, when you pull the fuel pump up, you're going to have to disconnect the hoses that's connected to it, because those hoses originally connect to the regulator and the fuel regulator and the filter, which is this. This is the fuel regulator, and the filter has the hoses. It runs to the gas tank on the other side. This would be the driver's side, the right, they call the right side. And this is the fuel pump and sending unit, which we just took all the connections off. So you can see the two circuits, one of the vacuum lines and another major vacuum line, I would say. But anyway, that's the unit that we're messing with right now. And when I pull it out, ooh, I don't want to mess with it too much. I don't mess with the float. There's a float on that side. There's hose connections and stuff, and I'll show you. So we come over here because we need a ratchet wrench for this. So this drawer here, and I did turn the light on so we had a little more light. And if you can see, which I hope you can see sorta. Oh, that's my drawer handles. One of these over here, it's a little blurry. It's too big. It's too small. What is it, 12? So it's a 13. My particular setup is a 13. So I gotta break it loose. The one I purchased is a 13 millimeter. And what? It's a little coming in a little blurry. It's kind of upside down. So I'll try to do this here so everybody can see what I'm doing, in case you don't know how to put this together. So you can see, and I don't have a bench right now. So you take this apart here, and these grooves, you see these grooves here? These grooves are what's going to sit on those grooves on the lock ring. And you take this apart. And you insert it here. You put the washer back on. You don't want to go too tight because you need to adjust it to the top of the ring. So And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a breaker bar. I have 3/8, a couple 3/8 breaker bars that I'm going to take. And I'm going to use that instead of trying to do a 3/8 ratchet, long handled ratchet. So as you can see, I have a couple here. I want to use it on a regular basis. And so we have a poor quality of video. Back out here. Oh, you always want to do this in a very, very aired space too. Preferably good weather. You don't want to do this in a garage unless you have every garage door open. I prefer to do it outside, even though I could do it in the garage, but I prefer to do it outside. So we got rags, screwdrivers, all the components and parts that we need. So let me get this adjusted real quick. Okay, I'm about to get this adjusted. I was trying to find a way that you could show you what I was doing at the same time, but hold that. Okay, so you put this together. Now, I didn't buy the most expensive one of these ring popper thingers. I don't know what they're called. And I used one of these teeth together, kind of close and set like this here. And then I tighten this down, and I keep tightening them down because they like to wiggle loose. But the ring turned the pump all the same time as well, which is fine. But because it's so rusted, and you can see how rusted this ring is. But if you go like this, oh, guess what? And you want to go left, lefty loosey, righty tighty. This isn't plumbing, though you would think maybe because this is liquid underneath. I don't know. And you just keep turning it. And mind the vacuum hose or main line, or I don't know. Just forgive me, I don't know all the terminology. Just keep turning it. Line up and, well, the other thing is I had to use a 1/2 inch breaker bar with a 1/2 to 3/8 adapter to break this loose. The 3/8 breaker that I had was just not enough power. So I ended up getting out my 1/2 inch, and I was able to break it loose, which you can see. And I want to get this ring off, and I don't know if I can spin it. Yeah, I can spin it by my hand like this. And I want to show you that it's off. And this is a gross job, so just to let you know. If you're not afraid or worried or don't mind the stuff. Now this is a little bit hard to get out of there. That one line is excessively tight. Like there is no room to do much of anything. But if you keep playing with it, there it goes. And this is gross. Woo-wee, gross. Now, see, I guess there's a lock form or formation or something here. So I'm going to set this ring outside because that's just gross. I'm going to put that back on. We're done. This is out of the way. That's out of the way. And see, you could just pull up. And which I did. You could see, you just pull up on this. And again, you might want to put it back down. See if you can get this to go. Oh, you can get that to go over there and push that out of the way now. But now you can pull this up and... This stinks. And it's going to go in. It's going to come out at an angle. The top of this is at an angle, you can see on that pump. So you can see the O-ring here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out and let it drain out. And I'm going to change the O-ring. I'm going to disconnect the lines once I get this out. It's going to be tight. I need to go get some gloves because I'm going to have gasoline on my hands. I'm going to show you this. And then I'm going to show you a trick that will help you when you remove the lines and you remove that side, the other side over there. All right, I have not taken it out yet. There are 3 hoses on this pump that I have to take off here when I'm pulling out, and as I'm pulling it out right here, one of the connections is right here. So the other thing, this is the trick I wanted to show you. You need a clean some type of rope, something that like nylon little tie, preferably longer than your back seat. What this will do is I will tie this to the end of these hoses, and as I pull the regulator and my flappy things, this is coming down because the duct tape doesn't work either, and it's leaving crap on my car. That's great. So that's a little goo gone, but you can see like it's really full. So I recommend doing, it's not full, but if it goes out and it's full tank gas, what are you gonna do? So anyway, this is this connection here is a pull-out tab, which you can see the pull-out tab right here, and then you wiggle it off. That's the only connector. The other two are pushed in, so you're gonna like wiggle this out. And you are gonna get high in the process. See this hose is in the way. I need to disconnect this hose. 1 second. Okay, so the whole glove idea was kind of ridiculous. Now, this fuel pump has 4 hoses. This connector is excessively stubborn. I'm going to have to take that off and put it on my new one because it does not have that for whatever reason. It does have the lower fuel pump connectors down there, and when I bring this fuel pump out. But what I wanted to show you, and the reason why I say get a clean string that's as long, if not longer, than your back seat, is because here are the hoses all disconnected. All I have to do is pull the fuel pump out and let it drain a little bit, put it in a bucket, and then I'll discard it later once it dries out. Is when I take the regulator out, the hoses will go, because fuel runs over here. It doesn't run this whole section, so these hoses have to align, come this way, and it can be difficult to push those through. So what we like to do is we like to use a clean string, tie the hoses up. When we pull the regulator out, the hoses will go, the string will go in the gas tank because the string's clean, all white. We use these for just that. I will pitch this afterwards because I'm not going to save it. And we'll pull it out. We'll put the new one in. We will tie the end of the hoses to that string, and we will slowly pull it this way so they're all there, and then it will connect to the new fuel pump. That's why we do that. So I'm going to, and yeah, the gloves, I end up getting gasoline in the gloves anyway. So I'm just going to shove this down here so it's out of the way. Move this string out of the way, and gasoline is relatively cold. So, and here's the pump itself right here, and it's all the hoses are disconnected, and it's got gas in it. I gotta get a bucket. 1 second. Okay, as you can see, I took out the fuel pump and all that's taken out. I cleaned up any excess fuel. I did spill some, not intentionally. The pump was full. I dumped it back into the tank, and you can see my little trick rope thingy connected to all the hoses. I'm going to disconnect over there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this so no debris and anything gets in to the actual tank. It's a little dirty in there, but the fuel filter will clean that out. Sometimes that happens. I gotta put something over top, and then this is the old fuel pump and sending unit. I have to take this connector off and put it on my new one. I don't know, I forget if that's a standard thing or not, but you can see little pack in there. It's kind of dirty. It's old. Still worked. You know, it didn't die on me, but it's probably better. Float. And when you take these out, this is exact fit around that hole. So what I do is I angle it tight fit and pull it directly out of the hole, and then you have to move it over to get the float, and then you got to keep arcing it out. So when this is completely put together, and I have a bucket, I have a antifreeze pan, which we use for everything. This is how this goes, and it sits like this So you have to squeeze that in. I had to put this on the new one. Squeeze that in, angle it, push it down, put it at an angle, and then it sits at an angle. And then when you put it back together, you make sure that these posts line up inside the fuel tank. So now, and my duct tape's not working as far as keeping the felt back, so I kind of just turned in the felt the best that I could. I have to do that over there, and I got to disconnect that side, open that up, and disconnect all that. Like I said, I wanted to put on a new something over top of that hole, just because. And this is a brand new, and yeah, my hands are kind of gross, but grimy. This is brand new microfiber, so I'm just gonna let that sit there, and that'll keep all the debris out of it for right now. I'm not ready to put the fuel pump in because I want to remove the regulator, pull the lines, and then do the feed for the lines with the little rope. But I'll remove that microfiber once I'm ready to pull the whole unit out and pull the hoses out, so that the string doesn't have any obstruction to come directly through. I can retie, slide back in. I'm trying to keep as much area clean as possible. Trying to keep it aired out as much as possible. This is a very light-headed type of job. So let me get this disconnected here, this felt back, and we'll go from there. Okay, I wanted to step back a second. I did take the nuts off of this. I've not taken off the lid. It's right there. Those nuts go with this side. Those nuts go with that side. Like I said, I took the connector off of this pump. This top connector right here that goes to the small vacuum line. I took that off. You have to pull the clip completely out. I did cut the lines out so I could do it a little bit better. Took the connector off of there. I forgot that you have to assemble some stuff with this pump. This new pump before you stick it in the car. So, handy dandy workspace. All these additional parts and stuff. So, one thing is here's the connector. This is the one I took off of the old pump, which I'm going to reuse because I don't have one. And as you can see, it comes completely out because the little lips there hang on to this little groove right there. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little rubber booty thing off of there, and I'm going to connect this to that. So I took the little rubber booty off of that thingy, protectant cap thing, and I put this on. So now it's on there good. Remember, this tab is one of those push out ones. You push it all the way out and you take it all the way out. Be careful not to break this. And then there's a hose that is connected to the regulator I'm going to reuse for here. So then the next thing that you need to do this pump before, like I'll remove these caps when I go to connect these two vacuum lines. This one I'll remove when I go to put it into the tank. But you have this here. This is your float right here. And it's kind of, might be a little difficult to see down up in there. But you can see the float snaps into this bracket here. and the edge of it goes down in there. And you might be able to see it. The end of the, it's very hard to see, but there's a hole where they spring the end of the white piece. There's a, looks like a little plastic cylinder. That's where it slides into. And that allows, that it has a float. In 1 second, we'll stick that on there. Same, pretty much same design right here, this little here. So it goes like this. So you would go in, get a good view of this, go in, slide it down, it goes into the hole on the other side right there. You can see where it's at, line it up there, and end up holding it. It's lined up. I pushed it in a little bit, but I did not secure it into its bracket. You push it down all the way until it snaps into that thing. Get it pressure. Ooh. Ooh, didn't want to do that. There it goes. So now you can see that the float is connected and connected properly. So like I said, when you put this in, because this is how it sits. So when you look at it, you see it like this. You see it like this. In yellow, brown, and black. This is, I don't know what this is. I don't know. Some kind of design. Whatever. It's not for anything. It's just there. And for your wires, make sure that these are all in here along with the springs. So as one unit, you're going to pick this up and you're going to angle it like this so you can slide the float in. Okay? Then you're going to set it down and you're going to connect. There's a hose that connects to this blue here, and it's a snap-on. And then you have two open hoses. The open hoses are the same size. And they literally fit here, and the open end goes right here and here, and these are just brackets that hold those hoses. And then this is when you get it in. You want to hold this, keep this all together, hold all this, and put those hoses on. And make sure that this is in. And then, because like I tell you, this is a tight fit. It's a very, very tight fit. The diameter of this pump is the same diameter as the hole in your fuel tank. So you when you slide it in there, there is no clearance for nothing. So you first, so just a little bit for this, you first stick this in, and remember that. So this is assembled and ready. Now I'm going to I need to start taking the other side apart. Okay, so I forgot how you take this off in my actual car. And upon examination in my car, it was kind of chipped and broken. So this setup assembly, selfie stick's fine, but this setup assembly literally requires that you push in. I don't know if I can get it to do it this time. You push it in. You would do this on the hose on the top inside your car. You push in and you twist. And now it's not wanting to do it, because your hose is going to slide in here. I just had it out. Like, no kidding. I just seriously had this out. 1 second. I wonder if that other piece would fit right in there. Block it. So I zip tie it so it's out of the way. Now, same concept. Let me get this stuff out of the way. This device here. Let me break this loose, this ring loose, and get this unit out. Okay, just like the other one, the ring is excessively, what you saw, excessively rusted, and it takes a lot to get that to loosen. So this device does work great. I got from Amazon, but you really have to hold pressure on top of it, and you have to use a lot of force and a long, and I mean long breaker bar, but it does work. So now you can see that this is up and it fits pretty snug. There are O-rings. It comes with O-rings. This is going to be pulled out like this, and as you pull, the hoses go down and around. That's how it's designed. So it's going to be a little much of a pain in the tush. I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to try to cover as much as my car with cloth because it has hoses. And put everything in the catch pan and show you once I get it up. So just lift it up, angle it out. You got to maneuver them a little bit, but do you remember that trick I showed you? So I have it like partially pulled out. Here it is. Here how long it is. The hardest thing is when you pull it up and pull out, make sure that this white tab comes out first. Then it's like easily. So like when you slide it in, you put a new one in, you're gonna put it at an angle. This connector faces the front. You'll put it at an angle, and you'll put this in along with its float. It has a float too. It's right there. And then you'll stick this in. But this is like you put the wires, hoses in first. But as I was showing you, remember I showed you the trick about the trick right there with the string. Now you can see the string on this side, and yeah, that's still covered, but now you can see the string on this side. So I'll be able to pull that string out, let it sit, tie it to the new hoses, and run the new hoses over there once I get the unit back in. I have to change out the O-rings, wipe a little bit of stuff up, change out the O-rings on this, and I'll put the unit back in, shove the wires back in, run them all the way across, connect everything, button everything down. And then the last part will be that side. So let me finish pulling this out and get that string situated. Okay, we got everything out. Right there. I had to remove the string. It's fine. On this particular setup, but you could use the string method. I'll be able to fish it through. These are zip tied. I'm pretty sure the unit I bought, they're zip tied. If not, I will zip tie them. And there is a, like I said, inside, basically right between the two bolt and nut holders is the space, and it just slides over. And you just keep pushing them through. That's the only space for it, so you just keep pushing them through. I'm about to get that unit ready. Gasoline, for real. The hose I was talking about that goes this here, that hose that hose that goes on here onto the pump, that hose does not go where the regulator and fuel filter is. It stays on the passenger side of the vehicle. And right now, currently, I just have it laying. It's not tied up. It's just in the tank. I can see it when I move the microfiber back. So when you stick this in, connect that hose, just wiggle it on there, and connect the other three. So I'm going to put that in and get the regulator and filter in, connected, move everything over. So the last thing that I have to do is the fuel pump. So I'm going to put the regulator back and fuel pumper back in and tighten everything down, make sure everything's really good, reconnect it, and put everything back together. It's, other than that, just pretty much putting it back together the way you took it out. I do recommend you always doing the fuel pump side first, taking that out so you can fish the hoses. And then I always recommend that your gas tank is half full to less if you can. This is a very potent, stinky, and you smell like gasoline. Pretty good job, but it is not overly complicated. It's something that can be done. If you have any questions, like the video. Good luck, have a good time, and thanks for watching.